Real-time crime centers have become a cornerstone of modern policing, helping agencies connect information faster, improve coordination, and make smarter decisions when seconds matter most. But building or refreshing a center can be complex. Constant Technologies helps simplify the process. Constant has partnered with law enforcement agencies across the country to plan, design, and build real-time crime centers, communication centers, drone operation rooms, and emergency operations centers, spaces that are purpose-built to support today's public safety missions. From American-built operator consoles to advanced video wall systems, we focus on the physical environment and technology infrastructure that brings your data and teams together. Our experienced design team works closely with your agency to create layouts and plans that support current operations and future growth. The result is a command environment where video communications and collaboration come together, helping your team move from reactive to proactive policing. Learn more at constanttech.com and schedule a complimentary design consultation. To get started, contact my friend, Lieutenant Sean Arthur, retired from the Collier County Sheriff's Office, at 239-469-4901. Welcome to The Tactical Pause, the official podcast of the Florida Deputy Sheriff's Association. I'm John Creamer, Deputy Executive Director of FDSA. Each episode, I sit down with law enforcement thought leaders to tackle critical issues shaping the future of public safety. Together, we'll explore key topics that empower law enforcement professionals to navigate challenges, lead with confidence, and advance their careers. Take a pause, gain valuable insights, and lead your career with purpose. Thanks for listening. Hey, welcome back to A Tactical Pause. This is your host, John Creamer. This is part 2 of a discussion we're having about the Florida State University active shooter that took place back on April 17th of 2025. And the guest with me today is also works at the CDA, like Mike Abbey did this morning. So we're going to kind of dig deeper into this. And Jamie, if you would, tell our listeners about you, and then how did you wind up at the CDA? What's your background?
Well, my name is Jamie Peterson. Started my career in law enforcement back in 2012, working as a guard at the state pen over in Taylor County. I stayed there until roughly 2016, somewhere around there. Left and started my first tenure here at the CDA as a telecommunicator or dispatcher, per se, roughly about a year and a half. And then I left saying, I don't think this is for me. I want to go do something more adventurous, more on-the-line job. So I went to the sheriff's office in Wakulla and worked there for about 4 years under Jared Miller. And one day I was like, you know what? My family wants me to move on to something different. So out of law enforcement, I was like, well, I'll go ahead and try something different like retail. Realized very quickly that wasn't for me.
Yeah.
I got a job working at juvenile detention with all the juvenile children that, get in trouble, and realized very quickly after about 6 months, I was like, listen, I can't do the kids. Right. So, I started thinking about some things, and one day I was driving down the road and heard David Odom's voice come on the radio talking about, hey, we're hiring for dispatchers, and I'm a little bit more mature now. Let me go try this again. So I called David up one day and I was like, hey, can I come in and talk to you about a job? And he was like, yeah, sure. Come on.
Yeah.
And we sat down, we talked. He proposed things that were different now, that he's changed, what his goals were, what my goals were. And I've been there since 2021. 2023, I become a communications training officer, CTO, on the floor, which is where new hires get assigned to us. We go through the process of teaching them everything they need to know. How to work the navigation of the phones, how to answer the calls appropriately, how to guide callers for help, how to get through those stressful situations. We teach them the etiquette on radio dispatching, how to talk to officers, how to comprehend what an officer is telling us what to do. Same thing for fire radio, how firemen, ask us questions. We have to be able to give them those resources.
Yeah.
So I've been doing that ever since until roughly September of last year. I became the co-training coordinator for the 911 Academy now, and I've been doing that ever since.
Okay, big deal. All that's a big deal. So you, for our listeners are not just deputy sheriffs. There's a whole sleeve of people that listen, first responders, or people that love a first responder, or people that are just interested. So your background is diverse. And then going back to the CDA, I mean, and we'll get into this incident in a second, but before we do, cops and firefighters and EMS, there is a second language we speak. It's not just, it's like Spanish or French or something like that. We still speak in codes, and you need to know, I mean, even though there's supposed to be plain talk or plain text, there's still a lot of codes that are used, and there's still a lot of shortcuts, and it's its own language, and you teach the new people the nuances of talking to a police officer or firefighter, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, and then there's a lot of technical stuff that goes into it. It's not just answering a phone, saying 911, what is your emergency? That's a very tiny component, and that's what we'll get into today is all the other things that come along with it.
That's just about, a grain of rice in a whole sack.
Yeah, right. A grain of rice in a whole sack. There you go. So tell me, let's go back to April 17th, 2025.
Rough day.
Talk to me.
Rough day. Started as a typical day, I was training somebody on Northwest Primary, which is one of our jurisdictions here in Tallahassee. Traffic stop after traffic stop, the normal, daily life for us. It was Telecommunicator Week, which is a week in April that they recognize us the whole week. Different agencies come to the dispatch center saying, hey, thank you, bring us breakfast, bring us lunch, whatever the case may be. And me and my recruits, typical Thursday afternoon, and we're hanging out, we're chit-chatting about everyday life, talking football like guys do, answering calls for service, dispatching them out. And then about 11 o'clock, TFD showed up, brought us some pizza for lunch, some very good pizza. I was excited. And I sent my recruiter to go get something to eat, and we're just hanging out. And the next thing you know, we have a call board that sits in our dispatch center that shows us the amount of 911 calls that are coming in at any given point, just like administrative calls, which are like more non-emergent. And being a seasoned dispatcher, you kind of understand when that call volume hits to a certain perspective, like 6-7 calls at one time on a 911 queue, hey, something's going on, and more so or less, I'm like, hey, that's probably just a traffic crash. It's around lunchtime, people going to lunch. Everybody, main intersections, thousands of cars come through there every hour. You sit there and think, hey, maybe I should call this in. The guy sitting beside you does the same thing. The guy across the street, so forth. And, I looked at the board, and I'm sitting there about to eat a slice of pizza, and I'm like, yep, typical traffic crash. We got 8 911, 9 911 calls. Wow, okay, maybe that's a big crash. And I turn around and look at my trainee, and I'm like, hey, we're probably about to get hit with a big crash. And he said, yeah, that's crazy. It's 13 911 calls coming in. And I said, 13? I look back, and next thing you know, it's 17, 18, 19, 20. I said, hey, get off the radio, go to phones, and start answering phones and help them out. Something's going on. And before I could turn around and tell him the second time, we have a call taker standing up in the room saying, active shooter, FSU. Being from Tallahassee, when I think of FSU, obviously the biggest landmark I think of is Doak Campbell, the football stadium. Everyone forgets about the part of FSU on Tennessee Street, just about at the Union. And somebody screams out, hey, FSU active shooter. And I'm thinking, oh man, Southwest is about to get it. That's their jurisdiction. It's about 11:55-ish, roughly, 11:56. My trainee goes over the phones. At this point, we're at, 50, 60 911 calls, 30, 40 admin calls. I mean, we're blowing up. Administrative staff is out the back. They're on the floor helping. Everybody.
Have you ever seen so many 911 calls at once?
Not at once, no.
Never, okay.
Yeah, so it was like even talking about it right now, the hair just stands up.
Yeah, mine is too.
And the goosebumps. And, I'm looking over at my supervisor, for direction, and I'm like, hey, do I need to jump on this channel? What we're doing? We have 2 positions on radio that we're working trainees off of. They're not, granted, they are, let me redact, they are great at what they do, but to experience something like this, they're not mentally prepared yet, and they don't know the stress that they're about to get hit with. So I'm thinking about all this, and I'm looking for a role to play when all of a sudden, about 5 minutes after that call came out, I have a police officer on my channel screaming out, shots fired, I'm in pursuit. right? Immediately, traffic gave 33 traffic on Northwest for police 400, shots fired in pursuit, FSU Student Union, all in a sign, go to Special Works. Special Works is, wondering what's going on. Everybody's looking at me like, wow, how did you end up with the shooter? We're all thinking the same thing about Doak. Before you know it, a typical day for us on Northwest, you may have 6 to 7 police officers and maybe 3 to 4 deputy sheriffs, including their supervisors. I'm thinking, wow, I got this guy and a couple PD units all in a route, right?
Yeah.
How really extensive is this about to be? Is this a standard everyday shooting? Did somebody have a dispute and they're calling it an active shooter? Is this somebody that woke up this morning with the intent of actually harming as many people as he can in the amount of time provided to him?
Yeah.
And before you realize it, we're starting to get reports of victims everywhere.
Yeah.
And I'm realizing quickly, hey, this is a legit active shooter. Pulled out my phone. I hate to say it like this. Pulled out my phone. I text my best friend that's a PD officer at FSU. Hey, are you okay? I heard officer-involved shooting. Are you good? Crickets. Nothing, for hours that goes by. And before you know it, my supervisor's walking around the room, making sure that we can, we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. And it really made us question, like, did you think that we weren't doing what we were supposed to be doing?
Yeah.
Or what the deal is?
Yeah.
That was my commander. My actual supervisor is jumping on the radio. She's backing me, right? She's delegating. She's assigning. She's doing this fantastic job by everybody around.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, all right, I got 6 or 7 guys. Well, next thing you know, I got guys I ain't never even heard of coming on the channel. Dispatch, put me on that call. Dispatch, put me on that call. Dispatch, put me on that call. Who are you?
Yeah.
I don't even know your badge number, right? So I'm having to figure all this out. Within about 20 minutes, I'd say 25 minutes of the first initial call coming out, I went from having about a half a dozen guys on my channel to about 300.
Staggering.
I mean, just coming in.
Let me jump in for a second too, Jamie. You don't know this, but you hit on a bunch of things that me and Mike Abbey talked about earlier. Mm-hmm. And for our listeners, so this is part 2 of a multi-part series. So when Mike was on the podcast on the last episode, we talked about the irony of this happening during Telecommunicator Appreciation Week. And we let our audience know what Telecommunication Appreciation Week is. For decades, dispatchers were left behind. People didn't get the notoriety they deserved. And Telecommunicator Appreciation Week is a big deal. It's a 1 week where people are like, oh my God, yeah, thank you for being the voice, the calm in the darkness, and being the first responder. The other thing we talked about too was Mike had shared before, when there's a big call that comes in, that your administrative staff is real good about stepping in and picking up those phones and helping out with the call load, and that's what happened on this day too, right? You kind of blinked and you look around and you have people.
Yeah, you blink and you turn around and you look, and it's like any office profession or any other job you have where you have an administrative staff that you don't get to see every day, and you wonder, wow, do things really hit the fan right now? Because I'm seeing these people coming from the executive area, working the floor like us.
Yeah.
And asking, hey, what's my role? What do you need help with? Where do I go? What do I do? And it's wow, something's
that's leadership,
really kicking off.
Yeah, what we talked about this morning too is in the Marines, everybody's a rifleman, right? No matter what your rank, your designee, your MOS, at your core, you're a rifleman. And it sounds like at the CDA, everybody has a core job that no matter what their daily job is, when you guys need them, they step up to the plate. That's very, very admirable.
Yeah, it really is. It's one of these things where at the end of the day, we all walk in, separately, right?
Yeah.
But when that door shuts behind us, just like any other law enforcement aspect, we don't become an individual. We become a whole in a family. Mm-hmm. And when that call come in, it really took effect. And you could see, hey, we all came together. We grabbed this challenge, face to front, and we took it down together.
Yeah.
Everybody executed everything they needed to do. Call takers did a fantastic job documenting. There were some things that we learned, obviously, that we're going to do better next time. And, dispatchers the same way. There's things that I learned being the primary that, wow, next time, granted, hopefully there's not a next time, but next time I know, hey, I want to do this differently.
Yeah. Yeah. Couple more things too. Lay out the quadrants in the city of Tallahassee. So when I was there in the 90s, there were 4 quadrants, and they were very uniquely named: Northeast, Northwest, Southeast, Southwest. And I'm being sarcastic. That was just the names. That was the quadrants. And then they have Zone 1 through Zone 8 Alpha. What's it look like today? So you were the dispatcher for Northwest. What does that mean for our listeners?
So for you guys, it's kind of what you just said, right? They're still listed as Northeast, Southeast, Southwest, Northeast, and Northwest. If you know Tallahassee, or even pulling up on a map, the state capital is pretty much our focal point, right? That's the center of our area. Running up 27 North, which is North Monroe Street, from just about Pensacola Street all the way down Highway 20. Everything west of North Monroe Street to Highway 20 is considered, a lot of it is Northwest.
Okay.
There's a couple blocks in there right above Pensacola Street that's still Southwest territory when it crosses over Tennessee Street, right? But everything that's south of Tennessee Street, like the 800 Ocala block, where Publix is all still Southwest. And then from Highway 20, swinging out to Crawfordville Highway, going down towards Wakulla, is all Southwest.
Okay.
Everything that's east of Crawfordville Highway, or the flea market area, kind of is our cutoff point. Going back up to the fairgrounds and the Capitol, all the way down Appalachia Parkway, headed out towards Jefferson County, is all of Southeast. And then everything between that focal point and Mahan, which is Highway 90, going back up Monroe Street to the east of it, is all Northeast. And those areas are broke down into sectors or beat assignments now, where Northeast quadrant, because it's so big, is 1 through 6. Southeast is 7, 8, and 9. 10 through 14 for Southwest, and then 15, 16, 17, and 18 for Northwest.
Okay, so yeah, that's changed a lot.
Yeah,
and the reason I want to bring that up is so you have there's a big swath of land that's in Northwest alone. Take out the rest of the city, you have a huge chunk of.
I have an entire quarter of Leon County.
Exactly, and there's you. Normally, there's you. You were in a training mode that day. You were training somebody, but normally the man or woman standing there or sitting there, it's usually just them.
Just us.
Okay. So that was real important for me to bring that up. And then why did you text your friend?
It's a matter of, hey, is it you that's involved?
Yeah.
Are you okay? Like, I'm worried about my job, right? I'm worried about my people on the other side of this radio. I'm worried about my officer responding. I'm worried about my officers coming in to back him up. But then again, you have reports of this guy that's, hey, officer involved shooting, suspect down. Okay, well, that suspect's also shooting back. Are you good? We don't have any reports of law enforcement being down yet, but still, I need to know. It's the piece of humanity that we still have inside of us, where it's our friends, our family, somebody we know. Am I going to be able to come have that dinner with you on Friday night, or am I going to be looking at your obituary on Saturday morning? Exactly,
Jamie. And that's why I wanted to bring that up. So if a listener's like, why would he do that? We're a family. It doesn't matter what uniform we wear. We're a family. And you took a second to check on a friend, and he or she was at work, and you didn't miss a beat. So so that happens. Your trainee starts taking over answering calls. You're probably starting to get surrounded by people answering phones. And your boss, your first line supervisor, is now in your office space with you, helping you, right? Kind of like as a backup.
Oh yeah, we had 4 or 5 supervisors and chief of staff standing around.
Okay.
Watching, everything that I'm doing.
Okay.
Hey, like checking on me, are you good?
Yeah. And your workstation for listeners, your workspace at the CDA, I mean, would you say is it fair to say it's about the size of an office cube? I mean, it's not a sprawling desk, right?
Not even that. You're probably looking at a 4-foot long desk, 6 monitors on the station. It elevates up and down. Screens tilt back and forth.
Okay. A lot to look at in a very small, cramped space.
Absolutely.
That's where I'm going. Okay. All right. So let's get back to it. So your first line supervisor is there. He or she's helping you. You're doing voice to voice on the radio. I assume when they're saying something, you're responding. You're also in the background probably asking for additional resources or things like that, and you're keeping up call for service notes, CAD notes, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So tell our listeners what happened then. So the rookie goes away for a second to do another important job. Your boss is there. What's going on? And you talked about normally on the CAD for the day in your quadrant, 13, 14 people on the CAD. And what that means is those are people that called in or logged in and said, hey, I'm available for a call for service, or I'm on a call for service.
This is my shift I'm working today.
Yeah. And now that's up to 400 in what, minutes?
20 minutes maybe.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm looking at 300 plus at this point.
And you said some of them you never even heard of.
Never even heard of.
Yeah.
You know, these are guys that are coming out of the woodworks that have never turned on a radio in 6 to 7 months. And now they're logging on to the CAD asking for these calls, you know. It's getting to the point where it's like we're putting these calls in, or these officers on duty, and I'm starting to realize very quickly, hey, my CAD's lagging. It's starting to slow down, right? Now that only do I have our law enforcement officers on this call, now they're starting to say, hey, we're going to be patching, which is putting one other agency's channel on my frequency. We're going to patch FSU PD with you. FSU is getting out of the loop. You are now covering the entire shebang.
I can feel the weight on my shoulders of what you must have felt.
Right. And, you know, and I'm looking at my supervisor like, wait a minute. You're wanting me to tell officers that I've never dealt with before, people that don't know me from Eve or Adam, what to do. Like, I don't know their policies. I don't know their stipulations. I don't know anything.
Mm-hmm.
It don't matter. You know, if you need them, you send them. And I'm like, okay, I'm cool with it. Let's go.
Yeah.
You know, and then it gets to the point of having officers out there saying, hey, listen, we just had Tampa SWAT show up. They're here for training. They responded to the call. Hey, we have FHP on scene. They're patching their channel with yours. You are now in control of FHP. We have FWC showing up. We have Capitol PD showing up. We have FAMU PD showing up. We have these people showing up. We have, you know, FBI agents on scene from the headquarters down here. It's like, wait a minute. I don't have enough roles to do this. You know, I got 7, 8 search teams that are starting to, you know, form now.
Yeah.
And it's really overwhelming.
Yeah. So what we talked about on a prior episode is that Tallahassee, capital city of Florida, you have the Tallahassee Police Department, Leon County Sheriff's Office, Tallahassee State College PD, FSU PD, FAMU PD, Capitol Police, FDLE's headquarters here. Every state law enforcement agency in Florida has a headquarters building here. There's federal police here. And then throw in people that are using some of our training facilities.
Yeah, so we have a training facility right outside of Tallahassee, Leon County, in Quincy, the Florida State Public Safety Complex for training. And they were utilizing that for Tampa SWAT was here doing training. Miami-Dade SWAT was here for training. A couple of, you know, other counties were here doing training with our guys. So when, of course, the call come out and they got word about it, the entire Public Safety Institute from out there with training dispatched themselves to the Florida State.
Yeah.
And granted, the help is, you know, we always look out for our own. But the problem with that is when you look at it, I was getting reports of students calling in saying, well, there's guys coming down the corridor in the Bellamy building, for example, wearing Army fatigues, carrying AR-15s. None of my guys got Army fatigues on. So who are these people?
Right.
Are they responders, or are they a militia group? Are they shooters? You know, what's going on? And the first thing that crosses my mind is, well, what's going to happen not only with these students, but what's going to happen when they turn, you know, Bravo corner facing Alpha side, and we turn Alpha side facing Bravo corner. And now it's like, hey, who are you? Well, who are you?
Yeah.
Are we going to be engaged into a law enforcement gunfight?
Yeah. We call that blue on blue when there's a use of force on use of force from friendly fire.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and this happens more than people know. But and the reason I wanted to hammer it home here is I think a lot of people think Tallahassee is the sleepy southern town, and it's not that way anymore. There's a lot of things that happen here. There's a lot of law enforcement here. I mean, there's people come here all the time for training, for workshops, and then every state law enforcement agency is housed here. And then on top of that, not everybody trains together.
Nobody does.
Right? And yeah, so, I mean, I could see TPD and LCSO and maybe the fire department and LCMS, you know, the emergency medical services doing a joint, you know, disaster drill once or twice a year. In fact, I think they just did one at the airport.
We did, yeah, Thursday.
Yeah, so I can see that, but now you're throwing in, you're just dumping scads of more people into this. And to your point, people clearing hallways, doing things like that with the self-deployment. And one of the big things in my role when I was still a chief deputy is we don't self-deploy to hurricanes, right? We don't self-deploy to something in another county unless we're asked. Now, it's in our nature. All first responders, I would venture to say, are probably type A adrenaline junkies at some point in their career. They want to go. They want to be a part of it. They want to get in their feet in it. But to self-deploy sometimes is really, really dangerous. And I didn't see that until later when I was in an administrative capacity. But you saw it firsthand that day, right? I mean, did that cause more harm than good? In hindsight, not at the moment, but in hindsight, looking back.
Hindsight looking back, yes.
Yeah.
It's one thing when you come to work every day and you see the people that you're familiar with on the CAD, right?
Yeah.
Hey, look, I got a great squad today. I know how these guys operate. I know where they're going to be at. I know how they handle themselves. So, it causes a stress factor when I'm starting to realize I got guys coming on my channel that I've never even heard of.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you're calm, cool, and collective. I don't know if you're calm, cool, and gung-ho, right? I don't know if you're Johnny on the spot or a seasoned officer that just may be having an off day.
Yeah.
Now I got guys that, hey, are y'all, trigger happy? Or are y'all this? Are y'all that? How's this going to partake? And now I'm having to worry about more and more and more guys and officers that are coming on to the scene that are dispatching themselves that I don't even know about.
Yeah.
So now I'm having reports of, hey, there's a group of 10 coming down the hallway. I'm dispatching that out saying, I got 10 suspicious individuals carrying AR and Army fatigues on the 3rd floor. What that's doing is that's taking resources away from what I need to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
I need to be searching for victims. I need to be rescuing students that are barricaded. I need to be checking for more shooters and so forth and so on. But now instead, I'm having to come up here to the 3rd floor and dispatch my crew out here to check on this.
Right.
When realistically, all they had to do was go 100 more feet to the command post and say, hey, Miami-Dade's here. Where do you need us?
Right. Or
Tampa Bay's here. Where do you need us? Or whoever.
Yeah.
And it was just a little aggravating on that day.
Well, yeah. I mean, I know I keep you from moving on with what happened, but there's so many things you're talking about. So when I started in 1992, most of the dispatchers just didn't know in the beginning because you're in the FTO program, you're trying to get trained, you're trying to, get your geography down, all these other things. And it was about survival and it was about trying to fit in and, learn your job. And then we did it backwards back then. It was you only went to dispatch if you were on light duty,
mm-hmm.
And when you did go in there on light duty, it would change your world because you're like, I didn't know they looked like that. I didn't know they cared so much, because you guys, you're like, we're like sheep and you're like shepherds in some circumstances. You can hear, like when somebody keys up, you can hear in the first few syllables if they speak, if something's wrong.
You can definitely feel the confidence level.
Yeah.
It's a matter of, oh, wow, I got a recruit police officer today running a traffic stop, the very first traffic stop they ever ran.
Yeah.
Compared, and it's the same way working on the other side of the radio, coming from a law enforcement perspective of, you calling dispatch and hearing, hey, is this a senior seasoned dispatcher I got today?
Yeah.
Or is this a rookie, first day on the job?
Yeah.
And being that and having that calm and that collectiveness and everything else in my career, I've learned, don't elevate, right? Don't break. Don't let them hear you break. Every day I'm on the radio, I'm the same pitch that I am right now,
mm-hmm.
whether I'm dealing with a traffic stop or whether I'm dealing with an active shooter. And what that does is it gives that calm sense of relief in a way to my units that I know that have told me this direct, saying, hey, listen, you helped us that day because we knew that we were taken care of.
Yeah.
We knew that we had somebody on the other mic that knew what we were needing without telling you what we needed.
Yeah. Fear is contagious, but calmness is contagious as well.
Absolutely.
And that's also, you probably do some self-soothing by staying in that sleeve of, how you communicate, don't go too high or too low, and because you're keeping yourself calm, going, nope, this is how it needs to be stated and things like that. And we'll be right back. Every day you put your life on the line to protect and serve. Who's protecting you? United Badges Insurance Services operates as a dedicated resource for the first responder public safety community. Serving thousands of first responders, United Badges offers a wide range of products including commercial insurance, group accident and health insurance, and personal insurance such as auto, home, renters, rental properties, vacation properties, boat, motorcycle, RVs, flood, and umbrella. United Badges serves active and retired public safety personnel, public safety agencies, public safety associations, public safety support businesses, and public safety families and friends. Experience the United Badges difference. Call 800-566-5990 or visit unitedbadges.com to request your free insurance quote today. United Badges Insurance Services is a proud strategic partner of the Florida Deputy Sheriff's Association. Applicants are individually underwritten by each respective insurance carrier and subject to insurance policy terms and conditions. Not available in all states. Promotional material for descriptive purposes only. Now back to the show. So how many you have at one point, how many 911 calls came in, do you think?
I know at least we were probably sitting at 56, 57 calls at one time.
Okay. And then I think it was over was it 1,300 calls or something total in
so
3 hours?
No, in 3 hours we had 805.
805 calls related to this incident.
Related to it. And then by I think the end of the day, it was somewhere around 1,300. But we still have people calling even the next day about it.
Yeah.
Hey, can I get information on this? Can I get information on that? And we just have to refer them back out, to the correct correspondence.
Yeah. So in the middle of all this, it's a perfect storm. You're at your workstation, you're working, you have a trainee, though these things happen, and then within minutes, you have 400 people in the CAD, you have an active shooter at one of the largest universities in Florida, maybe even in America, and then you have tremendous resources that have now been dumped out to the scene on campus to help, but there's you and some people helping you trying to manage those resources on the radio that you can't see these people, you can't touch these people, and you're just using just a few of your senses to handle the stress, the input, the output, and then from there you're also getting notifications about people down, right?
Oh yeah, people down. I think we had a total of it was 6 or 7 victims out there. Coming into the call, so I'm wondering hey, who are these people? Is it people that we know? Is it somebody I know personally? Things like that. Yeah, and it's it's stressful. Yeah, it makes you wonder. It takes a mentality toll on you. I think out of the whole entire ordeal, I took one 15-minute break. Long enough to go outside, call my fiance, and say, "Hey, I'm good. I haven't heard from so and so, but I'm working on it. Yeah, I'll let you know." Luckily by about 3:00 that afternoon, he texted me a thumbs up, and that's all I needed. From that point on, let's go. Start it back over. I'm good.
You got back in autopilot. So your peak time at this was for you like noon to 3, noon to 4?
Peak times was a noon to 1:30ish. Okay, roughly. Obviously, call comes in, right? And I tell everybody this every time I talk about it. Call comes in. It's almost unheard of for an active shooter to be down within 9 minutes. Mm-hmm. For us to be on scene, FSU to be on scene, them to apprehend, subdue, get him off the scene, and start rendering 8 and 9 minutes, phenomenal.
I have chill bumps, yeah.
Everybody executed it to almost perfection. Yeah. Granted, are there things that we obviously have realized? When you do something, you're like, wow, I did that perfectly. You can always learn from it. Mm-hmm. Next time, if there is, granted, hopefully there's not, like I said, can we do it better than 9 minutes? Who knows? Yeah. Is it going to take us longer than 9 minutes? Who knows? But we're ready for the challenge.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk about this. So at the end, what was your shift that day? 6 to 6, 6 A, 6 P?
6 to 6.
Okay. Did you get off at 6 p.m.?
About 6:30.
Okay. What'd you do?
Afterwards?
Yeah. And what you don't have to tell us, hey, I went home and brushed my teeth.
No.
How about this? When you went home, were you able to be still? Were you settled down? Were you exhausted or were you jacked up?
I was jacked. Yeah. Yeah. I remember I went home. Well, I got off work. I sat in my car for about 30 minutes and, to be honest with you, probably just cried. Yeah. It's a stress cry. Yeah. Telling myself, hey, you did it. You're good.
Damn right you did.
Your people's good. Everybody went home today. Fantastic. Yeah. Take a breath. Told myself, hey, I just need a minute. Call my fiance, said, hey, I'm going to be late. Yeah. She said, well, how late? I said, I don't know yet. Went for a drive. I took the long way home. Mm-hmm. Didn't turn the radio on. Rolled the window down. Thought about life. Called my buddy that works at FSU and I said, hey, I'm glad you're okay. That was my biggest hurdle, you know.
Yeah.
Starting off was you guys. And he said, yeah, I'm good. It's been a day. I said, well, let's talk about it when you're ready. He said, absolutely. It took us about, I think it was 6 or 7 days before he finally called and said, hey, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Let's talk.
How about you? What did you do for your mental health from the time you sat in your vehicle till today? What have you done? And it's okay if you haven't done anything, because the phones never stop ringing over there, do they?
Listen, the phones never stop ringing. It doesn't matter what time of day or night it is. Yeah. There's times that, you know, I'm hanging around with friends around a campfire at 2 o'clock in the morning on a weekend, the phone's ringing.
Yeah.
You know, I could be in a dead sleep, the phone's ringing. That's something that you don't ever quit hearing, the phone ringing.
Yeah.
You know, I play a lot of softball. That's my out. I get out there, I hit the hell out of the ball. You know, that's my way of taking my aggression out for these calls that we take.
Yeah.
You know, I run hard. You know, that's my way of burning it out. Deep breaths, exercise.
Yeah.
You know, I go fishing on the weekends, so forth and so on.
Okay. Is your trainee still an employee?
My trainee is striving. He does a fantastic job every day.
That's so good to hear that.
Every time I tell anybody, you know, I point people out to brand new recruits and I introduce people. My trainee is one of these guys that no matter what time of day it is, day or night, got the brightest smile that'll light up a room, no matter where he's working at.
Yeah.
His downtime, you know, he's always got a Bible on his desk.
Okay.
You know, always reading, always trying to lift somebody up. And when I'm at work and I need that pick me up where, hey, you're doing a great job, I go to him. He doesn't tell you face to face like, hey, you're doing a great job, but the words of encouragement that he provides are outstanding.
Yeah.
The guy has a heart of gold, and I love him to this day.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Because something like that, whether it's 5 years in your career or 5 minutes in your career, either is going to make you or break you.
It is.
You know, and I know that some of the critical incidents that I have lived through in my life, there was, especially when it came to the death of a friend, the line of duty death, there was always an exodus of police officers or support people that left too, because they're like, hey, I'm out. This is too much for me. I'm out. Then there were other people that, like your trainee, would just thrive. You know, that would just come alive and be like, hey, this isn't a game. This is for real, and I'm supposed to be here. So I'm really glad to hear that.
Yeah, he's talked to me a time or two and told me, hey, you know, you did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
You know, I tell everybody this day, I didn't do it. We did.
Yeah.
We did a fantastic job. You know, I was blessed in our last all hands meeting. They nominated me as dispatcher of the year for 2025. I told everybody in that room, listen, I didn't do this. We did this.
Yeah.
You know, it's I tell everybody this day, my shift that day, we executed everything we needed to execute.
Yeah. You were the guy on the radio, but it took the whole team.
It took the whole team.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's an old adage about the attitude is a reflection of the leadership. So I would say that your attitude, maybe the attitude of your folks, shows that you guys have a can-do leadership there. Let's get after it kind of thing. Like there's a mountain, let's get over it.
To an extent.
Yeah.
You know, you have people that are in specific roles that, you know, are kind of lacking in some things.
Yeah.
And then you have others that step up to the plate.
Yeah.
You know, the supervisors that we have to this day, they're all fantastic. I'll work for any of them. But at the end of the day, I know that, you know, whatever the job may be, they're not afraid to get dirty with us.
That's right. Yeah, there's always room for improvement. There's always room for personal improvement, organizational improvement, things like that. But it sounds like at the core, there's a hell of a good team out there.
We have an outstanding family. It's not a team, it's a family.
Okay, good. Yeah. So how has that event changed you?
You know, mentally, it's funny you ask that because we just had a mental health class yesterday for my recruit class. And the mental health provider that we have at the CDA asked me, she said, what is it something that you struggle with? And I said, you know, the biggest thing I struggle with now is my faith in humanity. I answer the phone every day. You know, you could take 13 barking dog complaints. And it's like, great, my 14th call is going to be a barking dog complaint. Yeah. When you pick it up, it's somebody screaming that they've just been shot. They've just been stabbed or they've done something else that somebody's done harmful to them. And you think to yourself, what kind of person in life can do this to another human?
Yeah.
What breaks them to that point? And you take it home with you at the end of the day. You think about it all day. Wow, that call really got to me. My trigger is children, right?
Yeah.
Things that happen to children. I used to be a foster parent. I had 8 kids at one time in our home. So anything resolving children that get hurt is my triggers.
Yeah.
And I think to myself, like, wow, what kind of person does that to somebody? And so when I take my fiance out to dinner, I take my family out to dinner, whoever I'm with, lunch dates with coworkers, I'm scanning the room. I can't give my undivided attention on them no more. And they ask me all the time, like, are you here? Like, where are you at? And I'm like, I'm here, but the one thing I'm thinking of is that person that's sitting beside me, the suspect or the guy or the lady that did this god-awful thing to that person that called 911.
Yeah, see, Jamie, you're okay. So you're looking at it at a different perspective than I have thought about before. You remember, so for our listeners, Jamie and I had lunch last week, and I got there first, but I just got there early because it was in our back in the day when I worked. Let's say, your check-on time or roll call time was 9 p.m. You better be there at 8:30.
That part
for free. You know what I mean? You're not getting paid, but you better be there. So when you got to the restaurant, where was your boy sitting at?
Yeah, you were sitting in the far back corner.
Yeah,
scanning the room.
And you came in and you covered the other part. So while we're sitting there scanning each other, but I was looking for things. You were looking for things in a different lens based on the calls that you took, wondering if these were the people because you never got to see them, right?
Yeah, so it's a matter of like, for listeners that are law enforcement, for yourself, you guys go from scanning the room for, a lot of times weapons.
Yeah, visual cues.
Cues, outlines of guns on waistbands, things like that. I scan the room looking for traits of personality disorders. The guy that's sitting over there with the leg that's going 90 miles an hour tapping the floor. The guy that's twiddling his thumbs, cross-eyeing the room, scanning the room himself. Is he law enforcement or is he looking for his next target? Thinking to myself like, hey, is this guy over here going to snap? Does he have a weapon or is it just one of these guys that wants to cause harm? And whenever I go out, especially with family, I get up first. I put my family behind me. I scan the room. I let my children go, but they're right there in front of me. If the kids are with me, like nieces and nephews, and then I let the adults start going. All the ladies first, because to me, being that alpha character to me, I watch my flock from the back. I put my strongest or my fastest up front, my weaker ones in the middle, and I cover everybody else. It's just the way that I am.
Fascinating. Everybody you work with is probably the same way too.
Yeah.
I had dinner with somebody not too long ago, and they saw me scanning the room, and, are you okay? I'm like, I'm fine. What do you mean, am I okay? Of course I'm okay. You should know that you're okay because I'm scanning the room.
Yeah, and it's like you go and you get invited to a party where you don't know nobody.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, hey, why is that guy so uptight?
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny.
It's just our mentality.
Yeah, I got invited to somebody's surprise birthday party who I did not know. I was thankful to be invited and was thankful to see these people celebrate and wish them the best, but it was hard for me to settle down because I don't know anybody here, and I don't look like anybody here, and I'm sure I look like an old grouchy cop in the back of the room, which I'm not. I'm not an old grouchy cop, but I'm sure that's what some people thought. But from my perspective, I'm like, threat, not threat. No, he's cool. Threat, not threat. Okay, maybe.
I feel it.
Yeah. So, all right. So getting back to this. What's changed you from this? It sounds like some of your work priorities have changed. I mean, you've been promoted. You're in a different position now, right? So your work quality, your work skill, your professionalism has shown through. So not only are you a communications training officer when this incident happened at FSU, now you, going back to using the word, you have a flock, and you do the new trainee academy. You're one of the ones that do that, right?
I do, yeah. I got a classroom right now of 13 brand new recruits.
Yeah. So what does that look like? So these people walk in the door in plain clothes, and then they walk out how many weeks later? And
plain clothes, they walk in. Some of them have prior experience.
Yeah.
Some of them don't. 7 weeks. 7 weeks they're with me, from start to finish. I teach them everything they need to know. I tell them on the first day, I said, listen, if you could pick up a telephone and say hello, you already got half the job down.
Yeah.
Right? Laugh out loud. Not realistically. Try to break the ice with them, you know? And we teach them everything they need to know about call taking, what to say, what not to say. We send them to accredited classes through the International Academy of Emergency Dispatchers to learn the questionnaires that they have to ask for a program we use called ProQA.
Yeah.
Right? So when you call in, the questions that we are asking you are all scripted. All we're doing is answering yes, no, or unknown and putting the information that you provide to us into the call. The next chapter is the radio etiquette for full-time employees. I'm going to teach you everything you need to know about the radio, how to navigate it, how to use it, what to say, what not to say. Fire, teletype, where we check warrants, we check, stolen vehicles, things like that.
Yeah.
After 7 weeks of training, they hit the floor with an actual CTO, a communications training officer. Each position has its own time frame. They go through a phone call taking position for 24 days. That is the standard. If they grasp it exceptionally well, they can be fast-tracked. A shorter training time. If they need to be a few extra days, we can provide it to them. And then from that point on, there has to be some type of remedial. We have steps that we take to help them succeed. Same thing with, law radio. It's 24 days. Fire and teletype, it's cut in half. It's only 12 because there's not a lot of in-depth to it.
Yeah.
Right, by the time you get to one of those positions, you've already had one of the others.
Yeah.
So you kind of already know the gist.
You've had trial by, no pun intended, trial by fire. Now you're getting to these things, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much like, hey, you know how to talk on the radio. Now I need you to show me, how to, dispatch a fire truck.
Yeah.
And handle a fire type call.
Yeah.
It's a whole different world between fire and law enforcement.
Yeah.
And we teach them everything, we teach everything you need to know. It's just a matter of, are you going to come in and are you going to be proactive?
Yeah.
Or are you going to be one of these ones that sit back, they answer the phone, they go home?
Yeah. We used to call it, do your 8 and hit the gate.
Do your 8, hit the gate.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, another personal question. There's, from what I understand, there's a lot of overtime at the CDA, right? You guys are required to work a lot of hours because it's a very stressful job. I mean, in the title is CDA 911 emergency operations, emergency communications. So people aren't calling there, just to chit chat. You're dealing with emergencies almost every phone call, or 911 call, or even radio transmission with an officer, a paramedic, a firefighter. They're working in emergency. So how do you rectify that with your own nervous system and your own well-being? Because it's got to be, to me, it feels like when I walk into the floor, having been removed for this for a while, when I walk in there, I can sometimes feel the stress, even though everybody that works there are smiling, happy, they look like they're engaged, but there's a stress level just from being in there.
Yeah, there's an aurora for sure.
Yeah, an aura. Yeah, exactly.
Big time, and the first time I worked here in my first tour, we used to have to cover 6-7 overtime shifts a month. So you only realistically got a couple of days off a month.
Yeah, that's not right.
It was horrible. 6 days straight, you get a day off. 6 days straight, you get a day off.
Yeah.
The hiring that we've done, the recruitment that we've done, we have a great recruiting team. The work that David Odom's done for us, fantastic person. One of the best bosses I've ever worked for. And he's all about us.
Yeah, he is.
So he's one of these ones that if it benefits us, he does it.
Yeah.
And luckily, he's got to the point where we're only working, 2 to 3 overtime shifts a month right now. When we come in, there are times that we can get canceled off of overtime. Hey, we can cover it today. If you want to stay, stay. If you want to go home, your choice.
Yeah.
Managing that though, you gotta make time for yourself. That day off that you may get, when it was hectic, you got to break it down. I know I got things to do today, but at the same time, I got to make time for me.
Yeah. I mean, I got to sleep. Maybe an extra hour of sleep would be good. A hard run, groceries, going to the eye doctor or whatever, lifing requires.
And there's sacrifices you got to make too that people don't understand. You miss out on holidays. You miss out on birthdays. You miss out on Christmases with your firstborn. You know, me and my fiance, I worked nights almost 15 years amongst all my careers, right? So we learned real quick, hey, you get up at 4:30, I got to be at work at 5:30. We get an hour, we're eating dinner together in the front seat of the truck.
Mm-hmm.
Our kitchen table is the console between me and you.
Yeah.
Simple as that. I can't tell you how many Valentine's Day I lit a candle, stuck it on the dashboard, and we had a candlelight dinner sitting at the park, you know?
Innovation.
Yeah.
Innovation.
And you got to. And working in a first responder family, it comes to the point of you do a lot for yourself, but at the end of the day, your support system is what gets you.
Yeah.
If you don't have a good support system, somebody that's there to back you, whether it be a friend, family member, significant other, whoever, you know, it's going to get to the point that statistically shown is going to break you.
Yeah, it will. You'll run out of runway. There's no doubt about it. Absolutely. And I think that's why it's been fascinating. I do travel the state a lot, and I consider it a joy to be able to walk into another sheriff's office or a PD or dispatch center and see how somebody else does it. And there's nobody like you guys. There's nobody like the CDA that I've run across. Even your wellness program, your resiliency program. I mean, they're
spot on.
It's spot on, and I just don't see that where I travel. So I know you have, because I know somebody in your family, you have a good support network. And then at work, there's a good support work network. You know, there's things you can do for your mental health, for your physical health. It seems like there's always some type of team building exercise going on. There's always an email going out with suggestions. There's all sorts of training that's going on there. And it does feel like the tide is turning, at least here in this area with dispatchers. I mean, I think you are being treated in the way you should have been treated for years. I mean, you are the first responders, and the rest of us, we wouldn't be able to do it without dispatchers. We just couldn't do it.
And a lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah. So if somebody was listening to this podcast and you wanted them to walk away with one or two lessons from the FSU shooting, what would those lessons be?
As working in the profession?
Yeah.
Communication. Communication is key, right? Don't take the initiative. Take the directive. You know, don't be the guy that dispatches yourself to it. Find out where you're needed. You know, we had a lot of issues where we were searching buildings on AB corner and running across the complex to CD and coming back to AB, CD, AB.
So the lack of communication created a ton of extra work and ambiguity.
It did. And the problem is you have officers calling out, hey, first floor Bellamy is cleared, right? Identify who did that. Identify what group. Because granted, me and you may clear first floor Bellamy. 20 minutes later, Charlie Delta's team is clearing first floor Bellamy.
Yeah.
Why are we doing double work?
Yeah.
You know, we have so much more that we could be doing and getting this all wrapped up and building search, so forth and so on, investigative work.
Yeah.
Than double working ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
So communication, take the directive, not the initiative.
Okay.
You know.
How about this? How about somebody sitting at a red light listening to this podcast who wants to be a dispatcher, like you were that day and you heard Director Odom come on and say, we're hiring. What would you say to somebody that wanted to do this job or was thinking about doing it?
You won't regret it.
All right.
You know, it's one of these jobs that you think to yourself, like you said earlier, we're the first of the first. People don't call us to have a good day. You know, they're calling us because they're having a crap day.
Yeah.
And when people call in, I've talked to numerous people at recruiting and been saying, wow, when I called you guys, I thought I was talking to a police officer.
Yeah.
You're not. You're talking to a dispatcher, a civilian that dedicates their time away from family and friends, that, you know, provides a service to you that we are trained and experienced to get you through the hell you're going through.
Yeah. So, Jamie, in my mind, I've started doing a lot for our listeners. I've started doing a lot with dispatchers, mm-hmm. right? This FSU shooting was a tragedy, right? But it also put all the first responders that were involved on the map for doing the right thing, right? So number one, and I've been involved in some of the after action things and having you and Mike Abbey and some other people on to talk about dispatchers, because any first responder is affected by a dispatcher in a good way. And then the other thing that I've been working on is think about, to a listener or just somebody that you might bump into at Publix or the Circle K later today, if they had an emergency. Most people I have found a lot of people have never called 911 in their life, but they assume that when they call someone, I use it with air quotes, someone's going to answer. Well, hanging out with you guys are the someone that's going to answer. You're a father, you're a son, you're a brother, you're a friend. You're not just someone, you're a human being, and you are the best of the best when it comes to that. And I think our listeners should know that the someone has a face, has a mama, has a daddy, has kids, has hopes and aspirations, has feelings. And this call for service, even though you guys answer tons of 911 calls, every one of them is impactful to you in a good way and a bad way. It's going to take its toll on your psyche, your well-being, and things like that too. So it's real important for me as kind of a side mission is to keep just bragging on dispatchers, not just you guys, but all dispatchers. But I just have a fondness for the CDA here in Tallahassee because I'm here. Right. So
yeah, it's one of these things. If you're curious about it, sitting in our red light and you're curious about what we do, we also offer observations. Yeah, come in and sit with us.
Okay, it's like a sit along, right?
Like a sit along. It's like it's an observation period. You come in for an hour, sit with the call taker, see the job that we do. Yeah. Hey, if I'm wondering to myself, can I do this job? Yeah. Do I have the mentality for it? There's no better time than now. Yeah. Come in and sit with us.
How does somebody do that?
They could reach out to our recruitment team.
Is that on that website?
It is, 911leon.com.
Okay.
Contagia Bradshaw, Will Blanton, Ellen Hutzel, they're all up, part of our recruitment team. Okay. Just call up there or call the non-emergency number, 606-5800. Okay. Ask for, one of the three of them, and we'll get you transferred back. Okay. Set it up.
Well, Jamie, it's been a pleasure to have you on. I thoroughly enjoyed our conversation last week. I'm looking forward to this podcast being published, and I'm looking forward to see what all you do in your career, and I appreciate you very much.
I appreciate you.
I do.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you for listening to The Tactical Pause, the official podcast of the Florida Deputy Sheriff's Association. FDSA proudly serves over 25,000 deputy sheriffs across the state with legal benefits, vital training, and financial assistance in times of need. You can listen to previous episodes at fldeputisheriffs.org or wherever you get your podcasts. If you've enjoyed the show, please leave us a review and encourage your friends, coworkers, and those in the law enforcement community to listen as well. To learn more about the Florida Deputy Sheriff's Association and how we serve those who serve, visit our website at fldeputisheriffs.org.